What's happening, man? I haven't talked to you in forever. We're live now.
We are live.
Yeah.
Nice to see you, Amanda.
Yeah, it's nice to see you too, man. Introduce yourself to those who don't know who you are.
Well, I'm Johnny Nocash. I used to live in Toronto, playing outlaw country and into the metal and punk scene, rock and roll, rockabilly, country, blues, orchestra. I love the shit.
Yeah, you cover quite a bit of it, eh?
You gotta, you have to. You can't be stuck to one very narrow genre. Honestly, maybe when you're kids and you only listen to thrash metal and that was it, but the older you
Yeah.
get, you can't be eating pizza every night.
Well, I mean, as long as there's different toppings on it, I suppose.
I think even then it's still pretty repetitive.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so the great debate, pineapple on or off?
Definitely off.
Oh, I thought we were friends.
Well, you just split the pizza. I could take it off.
Yeah,
I'm not
right
one of these
on.
I'm not one of these people that it's like detrimental that pineapple cannot live on a pizza though.
Yeah,
So if it's on there and somebody bought it and I didn't pay a damn penny for it, I'll eat it.
right on. Right on. I could go either way, but I like it on versus off. So,
Fair
so
enough.
we were talking backstage about life on the road because about what, a year and a half ago, a year ago, you picked up and decided you were done with living in an apartment and made your way out west.
Yeah, that was almost a year ago, not quite a year yet. Yeah, I just got fed up with a bunch of rules and regulations and bosses and white collared assholes telling me what to do. And, at the time I was literally just living, literally just to give somebody money for rent.
Right.
Um, and I just thought, this is not any kind of way to live. And even within the guidelines and rules, there's still loopholes. And one of
Right.
those loopholes was I'm going to get the fuck out of town. I'm going to live in the mountains. I'm going to live in the forest. I'm going to have freedom back. I'm going to feel like I have a choice over my own future.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I sold all my stuff, um, quit my job, told the band that, sorry guys, like this could be let up, like the restrictions could be let up tomorrow, it could be let up in 10 years, we don't know, but I'm not sticking around to wait for it. So yeah, I just kind of started a brand new life during a later time in my life. I mean, I know that a lot of people live in their vans, usually are younger, but
Mm-hmm.
I still got some youth in me, I'd like to think.
Well, I think too, like, I mean, you and I aren't very far off in age, and at this point now, like, you've got a lot of experience under your belt. A lot of people that do it when they're younger, they have no idea what life is before they start living in their van or on the road or whatever. And you've seen a thing or two before you decided that this was what you were going to do.
Yeah, I mean, I've always, even at a very young age, like I did a lot of hitchhiking when I was younger. I did a lot of solo traveling when I was younger, tons of camping. I lived in the country. Um, so to be honest, I didn't feel very at home in the city, and especially in Toronto. Toronto's a very, like a very particular city. Um, I never fit in. I was only in Toronto because of acting, because
Mm-hmm.
I studied acting, because of
Right.
acting and because of the music scene. That was it. And once
Right.
that was cut out, once that stopped, I was like, I don't need to be here anymore. Um, there's no reason for me to. I'm miserable. So many people had taken their lives during the pandemic, and
Yeah.
I didn't want to be another number on that list because mental health is a huge thing
Mm-hmm.
with me. And I didn't feel that Toronto was very supportive of me anyway as a person. Maybe
Right.
supportive as the music, but as a person, I didn't feel a lot of support. So I was like, why the fuck am I here? You know, I need to find my own happiness, and I can't rely on the people of Toronto to help me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and too, like, I mean, you hear people say it for years and years, and then you actually start digging within yourself, and you're not going to find happiness in, in somebody or in a bar or in a piece of clothing or, in an apartment or whatever. You really have to look within yourself to find what that happiness is, right? And like you say, like mental health is a thing, and it's important to recognize that. And you seem to be on the ball with recognizing that, and that's why you made it out when you did, and seem to be pretty successful while you're on the road right now.
It's still an adapt. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is like starting over,
Right.
like when I was in Toronto with the Celtic Outlaws and of course my acting, we had already gotten to a certain level,
Mm-hmm.
and we were just continuing to grow. Me kind of doing this is kind of like starting over, and that's okay because I'm happy now, and
Right.
and I'm alive.
Yeah.
So sure, I lost a lot of followers once I left Toronto. A lot of people were quite upset with me, and I did lose quite a lot of fans, if you will. But I don't give a shit. I'm not living my life for a bunch of online people.
Right.
Um, I needed to do what was best for me, and I
Mm-hmm.
understand that it was unfortunate that I'm not going to be playing with the Celtic Outlaws anytime soon anyway.
Right.
But that's just the way life is. You can't be living your life to please other people. And I just had to put my foot down and go forward and at least take a chance, at least take a risk at something else.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, really, that's what it's about. I mean, we don't get to take anything with us. Um, from my experience, it's our memories that we take with us.
Yes.
And like if you were to wake up dead tomorrow, would today be worth it? Is what I always say. So, like, when we live presently, that's when we find our happiness. When you feel your ass on the chair you're sitting on and you notice the surroundings around you and stuff like that. Those of us that are fans, we're still here. The ones that got mad, pissed off, stopped following, stuff like that. Whatever their motivation was, it was. But like, you're doing podcasting now,
Yep.
right? So I imagine that brings to you like a whole new level of people that are around, a different type of people that are around. So, like, are you enjoying the podcasting? Because you seem to
I
be good at it. Like, you seem to really have a natural thing for it.
Thanks. Yeah. Um, I do like the podcast. It's actually very therapeutic, I find. It's a 30-minute monologue that's filmed and recorded and then just uploaded. And I am getting more interaction with people. It's creating a little bit more of a dialogue. Whereas if you release a song, it's either like this fucking kicks ass or this sucks. Like there's not a lot of like discussion. Nobody's going deep into like, oh, that drum fill at 234 was just like
Right.
nobody's nobody's dissecting it. Whereas with a podcast, you've got so much to cover, and people might gravitate to a certain topic that you talked about, and that's what they'll comment on, or that's what they'll talk about. And I really do think, especially being alone, like being isolated to the sense of living in the mountains and in the forests and shit like that, it's really nice to have a connection outside of my main circle of friends
Right.
and family. So it's been neat that I'll get messages here and there about, as you were saying when we were off the air, about that crazy guy at that house. Like
Yeah.
some people will find that that's the most interesting thing of the podcast, and then somebody else might be like, oh, how what about getting supplies or whatever it is, like, so there's a lot more opportunity for discussion.
Right. Right. So, like, you spent a few years in Toronto, right? And
Oh
now
yeah.
now you're on the road. You're out west and stuff like that. So after living in the city, and I guess like the city of cities when it comes to being in Canada, after living in the city, what's it like walking with yourself for the last little while and like really being in your thoughts and stuff like that? Do you find that you're you're evolving as a musician, podcaster, entertainer, or do you find that you're kind of finding a different way of doing things as far as your musical background and stuff like that goes?
Um. Oh, that's that. I think first and foremost, um, I'm really happy.
Good,
Um,
good.
I found that the city kind of not the city, but like city people
Yeah,
and the social norm of a city tends to kind of bully you into a certain way of being. Um, like you can't walk into, a metal bar wearing, an MC Hammer shirt and mean it, right? Like
right.
like it's not cool, or and I can't stand it.
Yeah,
Um, so I think the biggest difference is I'm able to be myself. I don't have to like put on like a bit of a like an act when I
yeah,
go out. I don't have to fucking do my hair. I don't have to like look a certain way. I don't have to go with certain people like a crew, you
yeah.
know. And I just feel like I'm more connected with the meaning of life rather
Mhm.
than like the project of life. And that's really helped me. I don't know about grow. Of course, I've grown,
Right,
but I think I'm just a little bit more understanding of the value of time and our lives on this planet,
right,
um, and just respecting time so much more than when I was in the city. The city's all about who likes my stuff, where can I be popular, what girls think I'm hot, and out here, none of that fucking exists. It's
right,
it's it's non-existent. The only thing that I need to kind of be happy is propane to stay warm, food to so I don't starve, and then of course my vices and gas and like just very basic things like that. And like I said, whenever I was losing a ton of followers when I first exited the city, at first it really got to me because I was
right,
still in that city mentality that that's what mattered, like that numbers mattered, that fans mattered, and I was like, fuck this shit, man. I'm obsessing over like something that isn't even tangible,
right.
right? Like
Yep.
I don't even know these people. They're not buying records off me. They're not buying t-shirts off me. So what do I give a shit if I have 5,000 followers or 100? It's like maybe it'll boost my ego slightly, but
Yeah.
that's kind of it.
But if it's not boosting the sales, which I mean, let's be realistic, you got to think that way sometimes when it comes to being in the industry that we're in, right? Like it's not easy to make it on your music sounds great, man. Like
Thanks.
that type of stuff doesn't pay the bills, so it's a little bit difficult to go on followers, but it's also rewarding when you start doing it for yourself,
Yeah.
versus doing it for everybody else. And you're right, in the beginning it's difficult, like I stopped writing in August for a little while. I had to put everything down due to family. And it was difficult because the same thing happened. I stopped doing what I was doing, and everybody had kind of just dissipated, and stopped checking out what I was doing. But I also wasn't doing anything. And at first it was difficult, but now I'm doing it for me, versus doing it for everybody else like I was in the beginning. And
Yeah.
I find I want to do it more. Do you find that you actually want to do these things more? Like you just released a was it 2 songs or 1 song in the last month?
Yeah, I released the last Celtic Outlaws song in February.
Right. And didn't you release one for your father as well?
That was it. Yeah.
That is the song. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if it was 2 separate releases because I had seen it on 2 separate pages. So,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and
And I
like,
mean,
sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
that was yeah, the thing that really like
Turn
and
that
I'll
down.
be honest, like that song for my old man, it bombed. It bombed. Nobody listened to it. And I didn't care. Now, if I was still in my Toronto mentality,
Right.
I would have really been upset. It would have chipped my ego. It would have made me question like the whole like organics of what I was doing,
Right.
my fan base,
Yeah.
all that stuff. But I don't care. I think that music needs to be made as a therapeutic reason, like it as an escape,
Yeah.
as a, it's just like painting, it's just like going to the movies, it's just like playing a video game. It's trying to get the fuck out of this really chaotic shitty world.
Yeah.
And it did something for me, and it's always going to be there. And you know, it's of course it would have been nice if, you know, it got a million downloads, but because it didn't, and because I'm kind of a lot more confident with myself and my craft, it didn't
Mhm.
bother me as much as I think it would have, say, a year or so ago. Um, but yeah, like it's just like doing crafts. Like, you know, this is my friend Charlotte's studio. She makes these indigenous drums, and I mean, she doesn't sell them; she just makes them. And it's
Right.
like, you
That's
know,
beautiful.
yeah, it's man, we got like, you know, I'm not here to pass judgment on anybody. Everyone has their own goals and their own like reasons for doing things. But for me, I think I've got to start like just reconnecting with the music and my message rather
Right.
than what's going to be a song that's going to stream more than the last one.
Right. Right. It's I mean when you're in two totally different contrasts, we'll say city versus where you are now, the meaning of what you're doing obviously shifts, right? And you go from how many streams to how good do I think this sounds myself versus how good is everybody else going to think it sounds, right? And I think sometimes that brings a little bit more meaning to what you're doing, because it's not about everyone else and what everybody else thinks. It's about what you're doing and what you think now. And it's really it kind of brings you to be a little bit more present, I guess, than we can be at sometimes, right? Because you like I've seen a lot of your posts and stuff, and you're really paying attention to your surroundings, you know, and like the areas that you are and stuff like that. Whereas when you were in the city, it was mostly about here's the music that I'm doing and stuff like that. And now you're actually like expanding with the things that you're interested in or showing us that you're interested in, you know,
Yeah.
and it's nice. It's nice to see that because for those of us that have followed you all the way through, we do get to see that growth. You know, I'm curious to know, how did you find that little area that ended up being a dump? That little spot that you found. You found a little spot, and I guess you had gotten out of your van, and it was just garbage everywhere.
Oh God.
How did you find that place?
Honestly, I had to, there's been a number of places that are very similar to that. So I was like, I wonder which spot she's talking about. Um, Usually I just, so my headlights aren't great. I'm gonna test them out tonight. I just
Right,
cleaned
you
them
had
up.
said that.
So I'm hoping that I can start driving at night, but usually I have to find a place to stay before nightfall. Um, so ideally, I try and find like a logging road because they're quiet, not a lot of traffic. I can have a fire up there. It's usually gorgeous,
Right.
on a mountain in the middle of nowhere. Um, and unfortunately, I've noticed that a lot of these, like just these side roads where there's like a pullout, and there maybe would have been like an old campfire ring there. Unfortunately, a lot of locals go and do dumping. They like, rather than going to the dump and dumping their garbage and paying $30 to dispose of their trash like a normal human being, they
Right.
just dump it in the middle of nowhere. And it's awful because depending on what episode you heard, like there's tons of wildlife out here. I
That was
mean,
my next question.
yeah. So, I mean, the more garbage you're dumping in these areas where people and families like to camp, the more likelihood that, you're going to have a bear coming into the area at some point, whether it's at, during the day or at nighttime or whatever. And that really dictates, like, of course, your safety, but it also
Yeah.
dictates like how late you stay out at night alone. Because
Right.
if I had a friend with me or whatever, and we're chatting and shooting the shit, I'd stay outside a lot longer at night. But because I'm alone, I usually try. I don't know the areas. Every area is new, so I'm not sure if there's cougars, elk, black bears, grizzlies. I don't know. So usually I try and do all my camping type stuff
Right.
during the day, and then usually around nightfall, like 7, 8 o'clock, is when I've already had dinner by that point, and I can, pack it in for the night. It's just not worth it. You know, I am prepared though. I have bear mace. I've got a lot of like handheld weapons on the off chance you need it. You need these things. Like it's not to look cool because you watch Rambo. It's you literally need these tools if you're
Right.
going walking. Bells on your belt,
Yep.
air horns, things like that. It's just
Yep.
smart to have because you never know, and it's better to be safe than sorry.
Oh, absolutely. So what have you like? What type of wildlife have you encountered? Have you encountered bears and stuff like that?
Yeah, I've when I was up in Squamish during the salmon run, um, I had met a French couple that were doing the same thing I was. They were actually living in their trailer just a few, like maybe a quarter kilometer away from me. And we had started talking. He played guitar, so we were jamming and doing mushrooms and just having a good old time. And anyway, we decided to go salmon fishing for fresh salmon. And I remember we would walk down there, and the water was so low that the salmon were basically like suffocating. They couldn't
Okay.
they couldn't swim any further because the water had dropped so much.
Right.
So there's basically salmon corpses everywhere, which is perfect for a fucking bear. They don't even have
Yeah.
to fish for the damn things. They can just go and pick. And
Right.
I went to leave to go back to my van, and I turned a corner, and there was a massive black bear, probably like I don't know, I'd say about 30 feet in front of me. And luckily it was the salmon season, because why risk getting in a fight with something my size when there's easy food right
Right.
there, right?
Right.
um so yeah, I've seen bears on the road. A bear started shaking my van
I'd seen that.
not too long ago. Cougars, lots of cougars up in the mountains. Um, I haven't seen an elk. I will tell you this though, and I don't know if I've told anybody this, like from back home, but I swear to God, I saw a fucking werewolf. I swear to God.
Really, eh?
I swear to God. I saw the most bizarre four-legged creature I've ever seen in my life. It had no hair. it was like, it was huge too. It had to have been 4 feet tall on its four legs, and it had this big snout, and it walked really strange. I'm telling you, man, it was a fucking werewolf.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. There's all kinds of strange, fucked up things out there that we have no idea even exist.
No doubt,
You
no
know?
doubt.
And they don't come out to crowds. They only come out to people like you and me when we're alone in the woods.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. We're the victims.
So yeah, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite part about being on the road and podcasting at the same time while you're doing it?
I think the best thing is every day is different.
Yep.
You know, when you're a musician, you live your very mundane life, and then once a month you play that show, and it's like that one exciting moment, or maybe you do a small tour, which is a week or two. Well, I'm getting those endorphins basically every day. Of course, it's not the same kind of serotonin. It's not the same as like
Right.
singing up on stage, but it's very similar in the sense of that I'm always exploring. I'm always seeing something new. I've always got something different to a new surroundings, new landscapes, and of course, because I live in a van, I don't have the same amenities you guys do. So, like right now, for instance, I'm having to rely on solar, or I will
Right.
freeze. So my power is really running out. So when I go into my van tonight, I know this sounds weird, but I have to ration my power.
Right.
So, and it's exciting. It's like, all right, well, I better bust out the old blankets tonight because I can't turn on my heater because I need it to last 2 weeks before I get it looked at, right? So every night is, and every day is very different from the last.
Right.
And as we were saying earlier, like, you know, you wake up dead tomorrow, what did you do? Like this past year has been more fulfilling than a lot of the things I've done in you know my life so far. I've done some fucking awesome shit too, and
Yeah.
this last year was challenging. It really put my willpower to the test. I've grown. I've learned to love life, and look at things from a more positive outlook, because I don't have running water and heat and all this stuff handed to me. I need or running water, perfect example. Like I cannot wait to have a fucking shower tomorrow morning at the community center. Small
Right.
things like that we take for granted are really exciting for me now. Like I'm telling you, Amanda, I am so excited to fork over $4 for a hot shower tomorrow. And I'm like, it's small. Once you take a bunch of shit away from you, and then you start like, and then you realize the true value of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
It's like valuing value, right? Like you try kind of get the understanding for what value is.
yeah,
And then you understand what actually is of importance to you, you know, and the things that do make you happy, like you've been doing for the last little while.
yeah, absolutely. And yeah, and I've met some incredible people that I would have never met if I had been stuck in the box in Toronto.
Right.
Um, I've met some incredible people from all over the world, France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, of course, the United States, Spain, just incredible people, very like-minded people as well, like nomadic, living off the grid. Like, and then
Yeah.
of course we trade ideas, and it's like, how do you do this? How do you do that? You know, how do you ration your food, or like things like that. And I'm really looking forward to the summer because I'm going to go through the States and explore the United States for the first time. I've really never been into the States much, so that'll be
Right.
pretty exciting.
Yeah, I haven't explored too much of the States myself. I've been to Buffalo and I've been to Detroit, and that's it. That's it.
Yeah,
So,
but it should be fun. Like I hear the United States has actually got a huge van life community.
yeah.
So go to a commune, fucking hang out for a week or two, and then go somewhere else.
Yeah, right on, right on. Yeah, speaking of interesting people that we've met along the way, um, there's a few people that have popped in to say hi, and Walter is one of them, and he says he misses us both.
Oh, Walter, how you doing, my old friend? Good to hear from you, brother.
Yeah, him and Janice Murphy, she says hi, and
Hey,
so does
Janet.
my buddy Russell, and my friend Kyla, and my brother Adam. We got a few people watching us tonight.
Cheers,
So
guys. Thanks
it's
for tuning in.
definitely nice to be back, and it's definitely nice to have you as the one to start me off again, I guess.
Hell
So
yeah.
this has been good. It's been really good. Um, what else are you up to? Like what's next for you? Because I know that you're running out of time. I know daylight's burning for you, so it's already dark here.
Well, I have a brand new single that is completed, and I'm just working on the music video right now. Of course, um I have no money, so everything is super DIY now.
Yeah,
Like you watch some of the Celtic Outlaws videos and they're super high quality, which kind of
yeah,
bothered me, to be perfectly honest. To be perfectly honest, as great as the music videos were, I didn't I'm from a punk rock fucking background.
right.
Like like having these really overproduced music videos with like light flares and like it just it's good for another band, but Johnny Nocash doesn't need that shit. It's all about the message. Um,
Right,
so I'm kind of going back into more DIY punk rock approach. And
right.
this new song is fucking awesome. I am really excited to share this, like my new sound, because now that I've been on the road, I've learned how to layer vocals and layer um, guitar tracks. I'm working actually with Memphis Reigns, the guitarist of the Celtic Outlaws. So he's
Yeah,
helping produce it, he's helping mixing it. And I'm just really, really happy with the new chapter of my solo music. So yeah,
awesome.
I'm hoping I got a new song. I was actually This is my green screen that I made today out of old pieces of paper.
Yeah,
Um, DIY, man. You don't need a studio. You don't need a red camera. You don't need big lights. Fuck it,
yeah,
man. Just as long as your content is good and you got a good message and you got a good heart behind your craft, you don't need any
yep.
of those bells and whistles, man. And to be honest, unless it's hip hop or something, when I see an overproduced metal video, it makes me cringe. I'm just like, come on, guys. Where's the Sepultura videos where they're just on a fucking mound of rubble
Yeah.
and that's the entire video?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess in this genre of music, as well as a few others, I think raw is more important than what you can put into a video. You know what I mean? Because, like you said, it's about the music, it's about the message, and about what you're trying to convey versus going back to hits, views,
Yeah,
likes, stuff like that. You know?
absolutely. And yeah, so yeah, I got a pretty interesting year. I just got sponsored by a vodka company or
I
a
saw that.
brand. So
Congratulations.
they're going to be sending me a lot of that, a lot of vodka shortly. This is the first time I've been sponsored, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Um, so I also have this new song coming out. I'm currently writing the new record, as well as I have a Dagger Road 15th anniversary double CD coming out later
Ooh.
this year as well, which is I came across a whole album of songs that has never seen the light of day. So I'm gonna actually have a Dagger Road split double album coming out later this year.
That's awesome. I'm excited for that because, like I said, I'm pretty sure I own everything as far as your discography goes. So it'll be nice to add to that collection again.
Right on. Well, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I own pretty much everything that you've done. So, like, up to date. I think the only thing I haven't done yet is downloaded your new song. And I
Oh
don't
yeah,
have a hoodie yet. But other than that, I've got pretty much everything, including the
yes.
tattoos.
Hell yeah, hell
So
yeah.
I've got Head Alone tattooed on my ribs.
I know, that's crazy. That's fucking awesome, man.
And that was before I knew you or knew that you were local or knew of any of your music or anything. That was my divorce present to myself, was that song on my ribs.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
that's exactly what the song is about. Is about, you know, being true to yourself.
Yep.
Going your own way, even though it might be against the crowd or against like what
Yep.
is best at, you know, sometimes you gotta take a risk. Sometimes you gotta, you know, pass the car ahead of you to get to where you're going. And
Yep.
if you keep on, you know, following the herd, then, you know, you might not ever reach your destination. And Head Alone, yeah, Head Alone is it's strange that that song had the impact it did, because my friends in Germany are huge fans of that song. And to me, it was just like, oh, okay, you know, it's just another track. And I like it,
Mm-hmm.
of course, or I wouldn't have released it.
Right.
But the amount of gravitation towards that song and positive feedback has been like, it's kind of weird when you think this is the tune everyone's gonna love, and then the song that like is just kind of tucked away is one of the songs that everyone seems to like. It's funny
Yep.
how it works that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I've only got the first verse tattooed, but that's the one that meant the most to me.
Yeah,
Was that particular verse. And
yeah.
then My Dying Day came out, and that's probably my favorite song ever, next to Change by Blind Melon, because it just describes my life.
Oh,
So,
that's fucking cool.
you know,
Dying Day is a really cool song too. I remember when I wrote that, I wasn't even with the Celtic Outlaws. I wrote it as a solo artist, like because
right.
I hadn't had the full band yet. And again, like Dying Day is a huge throwback to like my skate punk kind of attitude, like fuck you.
Yep.
Like I'm gonna do my own thing. Even though, you know, there's a number of lines in that song that are so brutally honest towards the Toronto scene. Big middle fingers too, man. Like
Yep.
one of the funniest things about some of the lyrics I write are huge jabs. And
Yep.
like nobody seems to get it. So whenever I was in Toronto, what I really wanted to start, and I know this sounds strange, but everyone's, and yeah, we could wrap this up soon, but I got to say, so everyone's supportive. I get it. I think that's good. But at the
Right.
same time, being supportive to everything is bullshit. Right. And
Yep.
what, and I've always had a beef with Toronto, and I was like, I want to start a beef with Toronto, like kind of like how rap beefs happen, like between
Yep.
band or
Yep.
between, and I'm like, why doesn't Toronto have that? Like, why isn't there like, you know, animosity? But why? Because everyone's a fucking afraid of
Yep.
like saying the wrong thing. And so when I wrote Dying Day, it's really about like the scene, about like how I don't want to fit in, and
Right.
how I'm tired of just this flock of fucking sheep. Look at all these 80s metalhead kids that were born in 98, and
I
they've
have
got
no
these
idea what's going on.
fucking bullet belts and Burt Reynolds mustaches and crimped hair. I'm like, You guys look like the biggest fucking idiots. Like, you have no clue. You listen to one Warrant or Wasp CD and you think that you're part of the 80s. Like, I gotta call them out. I gotta call them out. They're not, they don't look cool. And anyway, that's
See,
my
I
rant.
actually own Wasp and Warrant cassette tapes.
That's how you do it.
I
Yeah.
actually saw Warrant at Darien Lake in 99, 2000. I saw
Oh,
them
okay.
in
Yeah.
2000. It was great. It was such a great show. And
Oh, I
there
bet.
wasn't as much hair as you thought there would be there.
That's right. Yeah. Just like the skullet.
Right? Yeah. So, well, since you've got to be on your way, we'll definitely wrap this up. My friend Kyla will kick my ass if I don't tell you that she absolutely loves your jacket. So, and she's somebody that I have turned on to your music. I turned quite a few people on to your music because it's always on in my car. So, I've turned quite a few people on, and I'll continue to do that. We definitely should do this once a month, once every couple of months, and keep up and see how things are going and stuff. Because I'm really enjoying what you're doing. And well, hey man, like you're following your heart, and that's what's important, and that's why people are paying attention, because you are standing out of the crowd. You are doing the things that people are afraid to do. You're saying the things that people don't want to say because they're afraid to, or they don't know how to. And that's really what puts you on the map, and you should keep doing those things. So,
well, thanks. I mean, I controversy is the only way people can think.
yes.
And I'm not trying to be controversial to be controversial. I'm
Right.
just speaking, my version of what I think is fucking going on.
Well, you're genuine about it, and that's important.
And I just think, if there was any bit of advice that I would have to anybody, is just like, who cares about, what the fucking vegan shops or the hippie guys are going to think about your leather jacket, or about, what kind of lyrics you write and things like that. The thing is we need to start being more individuals.
Yep.
And in the sense of like speaking our own minds rather than just kind of jumping on a bandwagon.
Yep.
For safety's sake.
Yep. About authenticity now.
It's tough, man. And I'll tell you, like, Toronto is not where it's at. Everybody is the safest motherfuckers I've ever met. I very rarely met somebody that really like caught me off guard. And I was like, whoa, I like that, man. Like, I haven't heard too many people talking like that, and I dig it. I'm not saying that there's a ton of incredible people and incredible venues and owners that live in Toronto. I'm not throwing shade at the entire city. I'm just saying in general, it does seem to be a little safe. I've never walked out of a show being like, wow, that was like, I'm going to be remembering that for a long time, know? And I think in order for musicians and artists to strive is just be honest with yourself and then fucking release it. If you piss people off, one last story. I wrote a song called Separate Ways, and I released a vocal playthrough of it maybe 4 months ago. It's got a lot of swearing in it. And anyway, this guy commented on it, and he was like, why you like, how many times can you say fucking a song? And I didn't respond to it. There's no need.
Right.
He came back to the song, replied to his own comment while tagging somebody else and said, look at this fucking asshole, thinking that he's whatever. And then his friend tagged another friend. So I was just racking in all these views of these reoccurring haters because I clearly said something that struck a chord enough.
Right.
It was playing that unsafe card that made them go back to my page the next day, re-listen to the song, tag their friend. And I was just like, sometimes, you know, the more controversial and like shocking, if you will, the better. And I'm not saying, you know, being rude or attacking like a race or a gender or anything like
Right,
that.
right.
I'm just talking like, you know, expressing yourself freely to the point where it makes somebody think like, did he just say that? Like,
Yep,
I got to rewind that and hear
yep.
if I caught that, you know. Otherwise your stuff won't ever have any replay value.
Right, right. Yeah. Well, and I mean that's it, it's important to strike chords in people. Um, good and bad. This way you've kind of got that balance, which you seem to have. You seem to have that balance of people who have negative things to say and people who have positive things to say, but you've got more of that positivity going on than you do the negative, I think. And at the end of the day, if we're gonna play this game, a view is a view, right? Like, I mean, these guys had to view your video to say the things they had to say. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
there's some positivity in the negativity sometimes, I think.
Well, yeah. I
So,
mean, you're not going to learn anything from just great song.
no.
You know, if somebody's like, you know, giving you negative criticism, they usually have a reason behind it rather than this sucks. They'll
Mm-hmm.
say this sucks because, and then you
Right.
get something out of it rather than great song. You know, you release a song these days and it's, you know, like, you know, 50 to 100 comments and it's all like great track, good tune, love it. And it's just like, well, how the fuck do I get like, how do I
Yeah.
learn from that? You know, but then the one
Yeah.
guy that says this song sucks ass because your whole tone is off or your lyrical delivery was sloppy and it's like, whoa, okay, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it's nice to have those moments because you get to check yourself, and you get to make
Big time.
sure that you're doing things the way that you want to be doing them. So it's not
Absolutely.
necessarily a bad thing, I mean, and even people seeing that stuff, right? Like I know that if I see a comment where someone's like, this song is terrible, well, my life is music. My job is music. It's my job to listen to what you put out and decide whether or not it's terrible. So if I see somebody comment something like that, of course I'm going to go and listen because I want to know. I want to know if it really is that shitty, if the tone really is off or whatever. So, it kind of helps build your audience in that way too.
Totally.
And you seem to be doing whatever you're doing correctly, and switching over to podcasting. I got to be honest, I think it was a good move for you. You've got a very social way of speaking, even when you are just speaking into the mic and having that audio to yourself for a half an hour or whatever it may be. You have a knack for it. You seem to know what you're doing, even if you don't know what you're doing. So you're
Who
doing
knows what
well.
they're doing anyway?
Pardon?
Who knows what they're doing these days?
None of us do. None of us
Right?
do. I mean, I'm completely comfortable back in front of the camera, but on the same token, I'm going to get off doing this and I'm going to go and watch the entire thing to see what I did wrong, to see what I did right, questions I could have asked different, stuff like that, because that's how we perfect our skills, right? Our talents and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So
Well, I think you did a great job and
thank
thanks
you.
so much for having me once again. And like I said, yeah, down the road, we'll chat again. Hopefully, I'll
Yeah.
have some new adventures to share with you and like
Wicked.
new song to that'll be released by then. You know, so yeah, I'm sure
Awesome.
there'll be lots to talk about.
All right, wicked, man. Keep in touch so we can follow you around to see what you're up to as you're doing it.
Will do.
Awesome, my dear. Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for this.
You got it. Take care. Stay dusty, folks.
Yeah, you too, darling. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.